Hello, Julia, your movement option facilitator with Be Well Fitness. Often, when I work with my clients, and I have just like regular people, and also I work a lot with yoga practitioners because I do come from some yoga background. So, when I do work with people, I like to create options, the possibilities for pain-free movement, possibilities for creating different input in their body through movement exploration so that the output can become different as well. So one of the skills that I find quite challenging in people's perception and their movement diet, their movement regimen, is the skill of pelvic tilts, or just their ability to orient where their pelvis or their hips are in space in various day-to-day activities, but also in some exercising or like yoga practice. So I have a whole array of videos on pelvic tilts. So because we're kind of building up skills, today I will be taking this skill of movement of the pelvis, of feeling and sensing where your pelvis is in space, in some popular yoga poses like down dog and plank and kind of like this low level lunge. So, just to give you ideas and perhaps also break through some particular and strict alignment that sometimes is very much focused in yoga, which is fine if you're following some particular lineage. But for now, I just want you to kind of expand your mindset and just simply explore the possibilities of movement with the guidance of your movement option facilitator. So, pelvic tilts. First of all, we're just going to identify the pelvis real quick if you haven't seen my other videos. So, this is a pelvis, kind of very simple. We have these pelvic bones here, and then there is a pubic bone right there, kind of making a triangle. So, and depending on where we are in space, so our pelvis can be tucked quite a bit. And if you do that, you can see how your butt cheeks are quite on, right? So they're holding your pelvis and your weight shifts forward, and you just have this kind of sensation of lengthening in the front. And the other way is when the pelvic bones are tilting forward, and then we create this arch in the lumbar spine. So you might just feel kind of like a compression there. So, and now the front hips also change their orientation. So, and basically, we're just going to explore this possibility. So, it's the pelvis moving forward and backward, or pelvis moving anteriorly and posteriorly, some other, you know, more of a complex names, I guess, that you can use. Uh, so again, I'm going to just explore a sequence of down dog into plank, which is quite well practiced, not even in yoga. Sometimes you can see that in exercising classes. So we're going to be on hands and knees first. And again, just in this position, can we orient our pelvis and try to stiffen the other areas of the body? So by using your core muscles, we're going to try not to move the upper, but just the lower. So can we tilt the pelvis one way and then the other way? And just simply feel how it feels to you. All right, that's easy. So now we are going to explore the movement of down dog through plank and back by focusing on posterior pelvic tilt, which would be a rounding of the back, just kind of stretching all these muscles here, lengthening them, or that's the sensation. And if you are the person who spends a lot of time here, just gonna be cautious and see where you need to be with that rounding possibility. So again, it's all about exploring options for today. So we're gonna tuck the pelvis, and then from here, I'm gonna explore my down dog with that tucked pelvis. So yes, and you might feel quite a bit of rounded, and that's fine. We're just exploring the possibilities. You might also want to feel that your lower core muscles are working to keep that tucked position. All right, and then from here, I'm gonna keep myself tucked, just adjusting my feet stand, and I'm gonna try to maintain that tuck position as I'm gonna go into the plank. And then again, I'm gonna tuck, come to that down dog. It's gonna feel completely different than usual. And we're gonna go back to the plank again. All right, tuck, or keep it tucked. So down dog, notice how it feels. And then plank again. Notice how it feels. All right. So yes, it feels weird, but if you always kind of practice it the same way, you're not exploring other options. And sometimes we made here in the class, like don't round your spine or whatever. That's fine. This is all great. But the other way it is also possible. And just exploring that and feeling where your pelvis is in space and all these positions will give you some maps to follow. And also notice which way it might feel better one day than the other day, or just taking into that optional case scenario. So now I'm gonna try to play a little bit with going kind of back and forth. So again, I'm gonna tuck the pelvis. I'm gonna go into down dog. I'm gonna untuck and I'm gonna tuck and untuck and tuck and untuck and tuck. So there in the back, I am leading with a tailbone as my tailbone reaching up. So how do you feel your legs? Do you feel your back of the legs are lengthening? Do you feel a sense of stretching in the back of the legs as the tailbone tucked? So and this is just gives you information. Now I'm gonna untuck. So what happens with the back of the legs? Now we're not feeling them as much. Yes, my knees are bent a little bit. My lower core is engaged. Just gives you different work in different muscles. Now again, we're gonna untuck. So the triangle shape of the down dog becomes a little bit more obvious, right? And as I am tucking, this is sometimes we can be referring that to the office posture, right? And again, untuck. Now with that untucked position, I'm gonna follow into the plank and just notice how that feels. So for me, and also stability of my plank, and also if I take it to more of a chaturanga or push-up, for me, I love to create tucked position, include my glutes, include more stable core, so that I can take that into my push-up or chaturanga instead of doing it untucked and feeling it in my back. So, and again, all of these options give you information to connect with your body, embody your body through movement, and then decide what you want to play with and explore instead of creating that fear-mongering attitude that tells you don't do this or don't do that. These are all normal possibilities of movement in your pelvis, in your hips, because pelvis is your hips, technically. Just explore.